Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to take apart or what's inside, depending on what your preference is, of these Hughes vSAT antenna LMB unit here. I've already taken off the large dish as well as all of the other parts, including the metal feet and support screws, and I just have this original piece. You can see what it looks like originally in the thumbnail of the video. So without further ado, I'll tell you how I got this thing. So this thing was an interesting story. By the way, this is what was holding this part in the middle, supporting these two transmitter receiver parts of the LMB. But anyway, before I tell you the story, I'll tell you how these things basically work. So, how these things work and what they're used for is they're just like an ordinary satellite dish, except a much bulkier version, because these were used for satellite internet. You'd have a special kind of box. Sorry for the I'm trying to correct my fillers that I use in my videos because they get quite annoying if you can't stand those kind of things. But anyway, so I got this thing when I was walking around just getting my normal exercise routine, and I came along this construction crew and I saw this thing, including attached to the dish itself, you know, near the truck where they throw away all the trash. So I went over and asked them, can I go ahead and have this thing? And they were like, sure. And it was at this old church that they were just getting some roofing done, and they were going to replace this anyway. They weren't using this anymore. So yeah, anyway, this is a special kind of internet used for via satellite communication. It's basically an internet. It's a way of getting your internet. It's extremely slow though. So anyway, this is actually has a radio frequency warning sticker on there. It's actually a caution, so it's a class 1 or class 2 satellite dish, and it emits RF, which can be harmful for your health because it can cause burns, because it's basically the microwave radiation. So anyway, yeah, so it's by Hughes, and so in this video I'm going to take apart the different parts of the unit, starting with this unit here. And what this was connected to were some nice big bulky pieces of cast aluminum. This thing's maybe 1 pound or so. That's a little extra free aluminum, as well as the large dish itself, which is about 5 pounds. This piece here is about 5 pounds as well, so this is half of the weight. So let's begin by undoing this connection. All I need is just a twist of a wrench, and this entire thing comes right off. There you go. It's nothing special, it's just ordinary RF connection. Normal stuff. Here's a cap, which reveals another connection. So this whole thing is held together with Torx bits as well as hex bits as well. So when I separate this unit and remove all the screws, I'll get back to you guys. Alright, so what was interesting is when I removed the 4 hex bits, there's just an empty cavity. Looks like some RF voodoo, as some YouTubers call it, as well as right there. Unusual. Well, I'll get back to you guys if I find anything else interesting. Alright, so I've removed all the screws, and I'm not expecting much because I saw a Made in China sign, but we'll see. Wow, that is surprisingly cool. This entire board is gold plated, albeit very thinly. That's nice. Lots of tantalum capacitors everywhere. Lots of IC chips, that's for sure. And there's something else underneath this thing that has a whole bunch of other torques on them. That's beautiful. That's not enough to keep in my collection, but that's going to be a nice board to process. So I'm going to remove this top cap here and I'll let you know. But by the way, here there's a nice rubber, almost like an O-ring seal. That's cool. And there's also a Super Protect Soar, which must be a desiccant. It's just there to protect it from moisture. See? It's a little moisture packet, good for silica gel. And it is a... I'll be right back. I'm going to show you something interesting on this label here. Alright, so I got myself my nice lens I got out of a projection television. It says meets or exceeds military D. So Mil D 346A, which must mean this is a military grade desiccant. Type 1 and Type 2. So it's 11.7 grams, very bulky and heavy duty. Half of a unit, do not eat. So that's cool. So this is a nice little desiccant. I'm going to definitely save this. So if you're going to be packing something, you can get a little extra desiccant there. I'm going to see if I can pull this off. There we go. Nice, and we got ourselves a nice piece of cast aluminum. And a desiccant. Sweet. Now, let's see what's underneath. Wow. Look at that. More gold plating. And of course, there are lots of insulating blocks here. And another piece of nice cast aluminum. And nice close look there. Lots of gold plating everywhere. Lots of tantalum capacitors. There's a little bit for everyone. There's even a little ceramic chip there. That's cool. And all these strange markings are all different kinds of components that are all RF. It's interesting how all this is just waves that carry energy. That's cool. So I'm going to undo these screws and later on, and I'll show you what's on the other side. So let's just get on to this other piece here. So this is the end that had the cavity. This long goes down all this long tube. In fact, this was actually pushed down more, but I had to pull it up so I could remove the center pole. And there's several other units on this part. Looks like that's just the feed horn assembly. I don't think there's going to be anything there. So that's the third part there. This middle part looks like it's going to have some components, and that one's definitely going to have some stuff because there's some inputs and stuff. So that's going to be cool. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to remove this other piece of coaxial cable. Comes off really easily. It's like caked on. Some substance is caked onto this. So it's really like dust. Anyway, so we've freed this assembly from the grips of this cabling. So let's flip this over here and remove a whole bunch of screws. So I've removed 4 screws here, and opening it up, it's just an empty port for additional LMBs, I'm guessing. There you go. Nice chunk of aluminum. I'll keep going and I'll show you guys what's underneath these 4 screws here. Alright, so I've finally removed those 4 screws, and as you can see, it separates into layers. So the first layer is just the ordinary cavity here. This is completely hollow. It's just an empty tube. And then there's this middle part with a little O-ring seal and the other part of the cavity, and it goes out to the front. Here, see? You can see my fingers there. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. So this is just an entire set of cavities. So, and on the other side here, you can see there's 4 more screws. It's just going to be the same thing, just a little cavity. Yeah, removing those 4 screws just separates this other part. Both sides are covered with a film. Interesting. So now we just got this big unit here. So the first layer, absolutely nothing. There's just a cavity. So now let's go ahead and work on the center module here. This middle one that has all the screws. See if it's just as good as this one. Alright, let's see. Well, it's an empty cavity. That's interesting. That's the top part. Yeah, it's an empty cavity. And there's a center part with another seal. And the base here. So there's nothing in the second layer. That's a bit disappointing. But there should be something here because this is the area with an input there. So there has to be something in here. Well, I'll come back and let you know after I remove those 4 screws. Alright, so I've now removed this part, and looks like another spacer. And in here we should have our special circuit board. However, this is all sealed, but on the other end there's some caulking insulation, just like your ordinary satellite LMB that you would take apart in a satellite to get the gold. You have to deal with the insulation on this as well, fortunately. So once I break that apart, I'll come back to you guys and show you what's inside. Alright, so yeah, this is what's underneath the cap. Much less gold plating there. Definitely not worth keeping. But there are some traces on there that appear to be thinly gold plated, but not much. So I'm going to remove this cover and we'll see what's on the other side. Alright, so I've removed all the screws. Let's see what's underneath. More traces. Looks like there's some little tuning screws there that I'll need to remove, but this is a solid piece of cast aluminum. And this piece I'll need to pop off this end to be able to remove this board. But since there's really not that much gold plating on there, it's really not worth showing what's underneath, because on the other side it's going to just be this really weak gold plating. So back to this main board here. I'm going to go ahead and remove all the screws here, and I'll show you what's on the other side. Alright, so I've removed all the screws, super simple. Now let's see what's on the other side. It's kind of hard. So I'm going to use a... There you go. Look at that. The back is entirely gold plated. That is beautiful. This piece is worth at least a few cell phones. That is magnificent. That's beautiful. So yeah, I could even use that as like a bookmark or something. That's cool. But it'll probably be processed with my other boards to get this nice gold plating. That is nice. But anyway, yeah, solid piece of cast aluminum with some brass ends. And yeah, that's about it. So let's take a look at the boards. Let me just take off this insulation here. Alright, so yeah, the back here is gold plated. This piece is actually of a higher quality, so this piece will probably be processed. This board I'll just leave the gold plating on. It's not worth it. Here's a nice IC chip there, and that's it. So yeah, anyway, there's our nice high grade board with some lot of chips and MLCCs, and it's nice gold plating. Got a lot of cast aluminum here. It's many pounds worth. And if you get larger dishes, you'll get even more aluminum. Minus the screws on here. There's quite a few. Yeah, there's some cast aluminum there. Minimal waste here as well. So yeah, if you definitely come across one of these, don't pass it on. Get it, strip it, get all the gold material and all the cast aluminum, and chunk the rest of it in steel. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.